Get the Corona pen. Let's go, Toots.
You took my pen.
I didn't take your pen.
We're like an old married couple.
Yeah.
Are you calmed down now after
the
your
boss.
coffee high?
Coffee.
Jeez,
I have a little
exhausting.
tolerance for stupidity. I tend to reject it.
All right. Well, today's voting day in 6 states. Can you name them?
Minnesota, or
No.
Michigan.
Yeah, right. 125 delegates there. Yes.
And that's the big dog. And then you've got the northwestern states.
You got Washington State, where I don't know. People are really going to go out to vote when they tell people to stay home and not be in crowds. But no, not Minnesota. Minnesota was last Tuesday. That was part of Super Tuesday.
Right.
Idaho, Missouri, Mississippi. So there's 6 states, but all eyes are on Michigan because that's where Bernie surprisingly won in 2016 because all the polls had him losing to Hillary. And he wants to keep the momentum going. He says he can do it. He was out there with AOC last night in Michigan.
Joe voted for disastrous trade agreements, which have been horrific for the Midwest. I helped lead the effort against those terrible trade agreements.
And Biden has some new friends. Pretty much everybody who was challenging him is now supporting him. Mayor Pete, Amy Klobuchar, Kamala Harris was on the stage with him last night, and so was Cory Booker. Booker's back. He's supporting Biden. But Bernie Sanders was on last night with a town hall. We'll get to her. God, you're so exhausted. Bernie Sanders was on last night on a Fox town hall, and people are giving them, you know what, because they didn't cut away to cover the president's coronavirus press conference. They stayed. And Bernie Sanders started snuggling up to Joe Biden.
Sanders, some of Joe Biden's answers don't make sense. Do you think it's acceptable for a presidential candidate to respond to questions like Joe Biden does?
Well, let me just say this. Joe Biden is a friend of mine. I've known him for many, many years.
Yeah, a million. Say a million.
When we do our events and our rallies, we respect people in a sense, and we give really substantive, these guys will think maybe too long-winded answers, but we take people, there are real crises facing this country. When I give a speech, often it's 45 minutes or an hour, okay? Because there are a lot of challenges that the country faces, and I got to talk about them. I think Joe was somewhere in, where was he? I don't know, Michigan or someplace else the other day, and he spoke for 7 minutes. I don't know how you say anything other than, minimal discussion in 7 minutes. So all that I have always believed is that if we believe in democracy, a candidate has got to be honest with the people about what he or she believes, given the many, many challenges facing our country.
All right, what's
It's a
your
non-answer.
theory?
That was the longest non-answer in the world.
That's what old people
You're
do.
two doddering old men fighting over the last bowl of soup at Panera. That's all this is. It's a joke. It is a true joke.
But you
It's
said
a
you
shame
had
of
a
the
theory
country.
before we. What's your theory?
My theory is very simple. Obviously, Joe Biden is not well.
Yeah.
And I believe he'll secure the nomination. Then around summertime, he goes in for the fake stroke. The rumor comes out he cannot compete, and they stuff in whoever they want. Now, the rumor is Hillary, but I don't think they're going to go to that well because people understand she is the most unlikable woman on the planet. And you can almost smell that old lady dust through the TV. Not going to win.
All right, with more on this and local politics, because our election is a week from today. Let's welcome back to the program the one, the only, Kristen McQueary, Chicago Tribune editorial board member and columnist. Good morning, Kristen. How are you?
Good morning. I'm great. How are you?
Good. So what do you think is going to happen in Michigan today? 125 delegates at stake.
Yeah, Bernie did win it last time around, but only by a hair. It was so close. This time the polls, again, you can question polls, but the Detroit Free Press and CNN have both done polls that have Biden like 24 points ahead. So I just don't think Bernie in this era and bringing AOC with him to events sells in a sensible, Midwestern, more moderate-leaning Democratic voting state. So I think it's going to be Biden. I don't think Bernie's going to win. He'll get some delegates in some states, but I think it's going to be Wednesday morning, a big reevaluation of his campaign. And it could actually put us in play because we are the next round with Ohio, Florida, and Arizona. And he'll stick around for our March 17th primary. But I think Michigan is going to be a big win for Biden.
How is Illinois leaning, towards Bernie or Biden?
We have those very left-leaning, progressive city of Chicago voters.
Communists.
So I could see Bernie, doing fairly well because just population-wise, Chicago is such a heartbeat center of our democratic process. But because of our local races, you're going to see a lot of crossover. You're going to see a lot of people who traditionally vote Republican or more independent-leaning voters taking Democratic ballots. And so you might see a little bit more of a swing in some of those races.
Yeah, I'm pulling a Democratic ballot. Are you going to vote, Sean? Are you going to?
Yeah. I'm not. I mean, really? I'm going to waste my time. I like to go and yell at the people on the sidewalk.
But here's the thing. That's what I can't stand about you. You can sit here and biatch all you want, but if you don't go vote, then shut your mouth.
I don't take binary
Seriously,
choices.
shut your mouth. If you don't
that's
vote,
the opposite.
that is so ridiculous.
And be victimized by morons. Anyway, Kristen, back to the other question. Are you surprised with the fact that we have, and I mean this, these are two doddering old fools, right? Clearly, Biden, there is something wrong. I don't know how you could look at him and listen to the breakup in his speech patterns and the mispronunciations and not come to the conclusion he is incapable of executing the job, even if he wins it. Are you surprised at the American Democrat, the youthful American Democrat, accepting this doddering old fool as a candidate?
Yes, I think even before Iowa. So we all talk about Iowa and how it's too white, it's too moderate. We need to move the primary, and of course, Governor Pritzker here is raising his hand that Illinois should be the first primary state. Even before you got to Iowa, the Democrats, who are so skilled at identity politics, had already wiped off of the stage 4 to 5 of their younger, vibrant minority candidates, even before you got to Iowa. So yes, that has been surprising to me. And I think it's just an indication of how weak the field was from the beginning overall, that Biden is the person who is leading. I do think he's not firing on all cylinders, clearly, and it's going to get worse as now we're going to really start looking into the Hunter Biden thing is not going away.
No.
He's going to be more in the spotlight. He's going to be scrubbed more than he has been. And yes, it even to an old cynic like myself, I have been surprised.
Well, Biden's got to, pick a very strong running mate. And I know that, he had Amy Klobuchar campaign with him last night. He took Kamala Harris out for a spin in Detroit. Which one do you think he'll settle on?
I think he has to go with a woman, and I think he has to go with a minority. So I don't know that it will be Kamala Harris, but she's sort of a leading contender. I just think he has to go in that direction in this environment.
I think it could be that or the girl from Georgia with the multiple necks.
Oh, Stacey Abrams. Well, she is actually in the running, too.
Yeah, why not? Here's another thing, Kristen. I read your article on Rahm Emanuel, and I loved it. But are you just... I mean, we are in a society that has about a 3-minute attention span. And the idea that this failure, Rahm Emanuel, who left the city of Chicago in bankruptcy, in a disgrace on almost
he
virtually
got it when it was bankrupt, too.
And virtually every level, is now on major network as an expert for Democrat views and Democrat ideology. Does anybody look back at what exactly Chicago is, or is this somehow such a failure? It's like being the president of GE. You've done so bad, you must be great.
No, it's the attention span issue, and it's the rewriting of history issue, and it's that those Sunday morning panels, they don't care. They don't even know, and that's why I wrote the piece, because I mean, here's someone who he's offering advice, and he's a leading expert, and because he was Barack Obama's chief of staff, he got run out of office because there was a very widespread suspicion and a lot of evidence that he covered up the death of a teenager by his police department. And the finances of the city are not better off. He has a new book out, so he's out kind of talking about how mayors run the world, and here's why we should listen to mayors. And so that's why I wrote it. Does it matter to George Stephanopoulos, his friend, who's leading these panels? No, but we know the truth in Chicago.
Yeah, did you see him last weekend or last Sunday on This Week? when he's
I
talking
did
about
not.
how President Trump
Yeah,
will
Laurel
have
and Hardy with Chris Christie next to him. I saw it.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
cute.
I don't know how he earned that position.
Yeah.
But it's all connections, yes. Local race that everybody's watching about is the Cook County State's Attorney's race. Kim Fox, latest poll, I think she's 13 points ahead of the second place runner-up Bill Conway. Is there any possibility that they could do what, the Democrats did on a national level? Everyone, concede or just, suspend their campaigns and then back one candidate, like maybe possibly Bill Conway and Bob Fioretti can give up their campaign and support Donna Moore. Yeah, I've lost my mind.
No, I mean, Donna Moore and Bob Fioretti are polling so low. We endorsed Donna Moore because she just when you stack her up against all the other candidates, she has the most experience. She ran last time around. She's been vetted. She's an extremely skilled attorney, and she really wants this job. And she would be someone who would swing the office a little bit more to the middle. I still see Kim Fox coming out as victorious. I just think the anti-Kim Fox vote will be split. And she is still very popular in the Black community. She is still very popular in the Lakeshore liberal community. People accept that she made a mistake in the Jussie Smollett case, but they are willing to live with that in order to get what she sells as criminal justice reform. That's where we live. We live in this little bubble of Chicago, and suburban Cook County is not much different. And I think that she will win.
Well, I think also, too, you have to factor in that the responsible Illinoisan has probably moved. The fundamental, principled, responsible Illinoisan looked at the situation and said, come on, what are you going to do? I think.
I mean, well, yes, I mean, it's the exodus is real. You are losing more measured, even if they're Democratic-leaning voters, they understand they have all this pension debt and government spending strapped to their backs. And so, yes, that's in part why you've seen a lot of the suburbs shift, and you see more Democratic voters creeping into places like DuPage and otherwise fertile GOP territory, because a lot of our more conservative and fiscally conservative residents have left, and who can blame them?
All right. She is Kristen McQueary, Chicago Tribune editorial board member and columnist, and a great friend of the show. We appreciate you waking up early and coming on with us again. Thanks.
Yeah, come down to the Southside Irish Parade, you guys. I'm like 2 blocks off. We're doing it. We're not letting coronavirus cancel our parade.
Okay, are you going to wear a mask,
Do you
Kristen?
have the Everlast boxing headgear for me?
You would need it. You would need it. And no mask. No, we're going to, alcohol is a great disinfectant. So
that's
you just
right.
kind of you just like douse yourself in beer and you're good.
But it's got to be 100 proof, just so you know. If you're going to make hand
Oh,
sanitizer.
It's not a cold out there that can
Okay.
hurt a Southside Irish chick.
Exactly.
Not a cold.
There you
All right,
go.
thanks, and Kristen
There you go.
McQuarrie, and she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
After 25 years of building websites for all kinds of companies in many different industries, AmericanEagle.com realized a well-designed website is also your best employee, bringing efficiency, revenue, production, showing up every day, giving above and beyond to increase your bottom line. That's what a website designed, developed, and hosted by AmericanEagle.com has brought to so many clients. An AmericanEagle.com website is a 24/7 branding exercise, building rapport and thus brand equity while you sleep. Companies like WeatherTech have relied on AmericanEagle.com's website design and development and hosting capabilities for years. When some of the world's top brands need a reliable company to prepare their sites for high-traffic events, who do they call? AmericanEagle.com. Their clients have come to rely on them for a full line of website services, from consulting and strategy to digital marketing, hosting, and maintenance. Give the team at AmericanEagle.com a call today. 1-877-WEB-NOW. The number 1 is the number. AmericanEagle.com is the website. 1-877-WEB.